Egyptian-Turkish relations are bilateral relations between Egypt and Turkey. Egypt and Turkey are bound by strong religious, cultural and historical ties, but diplomatic ties between the two have remained extremely friendly at times and extremely strained at others. For 3 centuries, Egypt was part of the Ottoman Empire, whose capital was Istanbul in modern-day Turkey. Despite Governor of Egypt, Muhammad Ali, waged war against the Ottoman Sultan, Mahmud II. In 1831, Turkey established diplomatic relations with Egypt in 1925 at the level of Chargé affairs and upgraded its mission in Cairo to ambassadorial level in 1948. Both countries have embassies and consulate generals in the other's capitals. Both countries have signed a free trade agreement in December 2005. Both countries are full members of the Union for the Mediterranean. A natural gas deal between Egypt and Turkey, the largest joint Egyptian-Turkish project to date, estimated to cost $4 billion, is being implemented. On 16 April 2008, Egypt and Turkey signed a Memorandum of Understanding to improve and further military relations and cooperation between the two countries. Relations, however, have been quite tense on many occasions in history of both countries, including the Nasser era in Egypt in the 1950s and 60s. It has also strongly deteriorated in the period following the overthrow of the Egyptian president Mohamed Morsi on 3 July 2013 following a 48-hour deadline on 1 July, marking the end of anti-government protests that took place between 30 June and 3 July that year. On 23 November 2013, the Egyptian government expelled the Turkish ambassador in Cairo after a months-long diplomatic crisis. In the midst of the Cold War and during the rule of Egyptian President Jamal Abdel Nasser, relations between both countries have soured dramatically due to Turkey's membership in the British-led Baghdad Pact, which Nasser viewed as a major threat to his efforts to eliminate Western presence in the Arab world, and because of the growing influence of Nasser's pan-Arab ideology, called Nasserism. In addition, Turkey was the first Muslim-majority country to recognize the State of Israel, Egypt's arch-rival at the time, showing even more its clear alignment to the West in 1958. Egypt entered a brief union with Syria, Turkey's southern neighbor with whom it shared long-time diplomatic and border disputes, causing severe tensions between the two countries, with Turkey responding by its engagement in a secret, peripheral alliance with Israel. The tensions reached their peak in 1957 prior to the unification with Syria when Nasser, fearful of a Baghdad Pact toppling of the Syrian government, sent a contingent force to assist Syrian forces that was dispatched near the Syrian-Turkish border, as a response to a Turkish threat of incursion when a huge number of troops amassed along the border. This near confrontation between Egyptian and Turkish troops marked a dark spot in both countries' relations and eventually led to both sides withdrawing, ending the possible escalation of the crisis. Turkish Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan made his first 3 days official visit to Egypt on 12 September 2011, and was accompanied by 6 ministers and approximately 200 businessmen. This visit was considered a diplomatic success and was met with much enthusiasm by Egyptians. CNN reported some Egyptians saying, "We consider him as the Islamic leader in the Middle East." While others were appreciative of his role in supporting Gaza, Erdogan was later honored in Tahrir Square by members of the Egyptian Revolution Youth Union, and members of the Turkish embassy were presented with a coat of arms in acknowledgement of the Prime Minister's support of the Egyptian Revolution of 2011. A week after he left, Turkish Foreign Minister Ahmet Davutoglu proclaimed his vision of a strategic alliance between Egypt and Turkey, which he described as an axis of democracy. However, some voiced concerns that the Egyptian revolution was not fulfilled and that Erdogan was seeking his own country's strategic interests. It was feared that by forming an alliance with the SCAF interim government in Egypt during the country's transition to democracy, Erdogan may have tipped the balance in favor of those that stand between the Egyptians and their freedom. Following the anti-government protests in the middle of 2013 that led to the overthrow of Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi, who was strongly backed by Turkey's ruling Justice and Development Party, signs of strained relations rose between the newly appointed interim government of Egypt and Recep Tayyip Erdogan's government in Turkey, mainly due to Erdogan's pro-brotherhood views, culminating with the August 2013 sit-in raids in Rabah and Najd by security forces, where sit-ins organized by the Muslim Brotherhood were dispersed, leading to clashes that resulted in 638 deaths, of which 43 were police officers. The incident resulted in both countries recalling